Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the League One review show. This is episode 19 of this one, and it's a positive episode for a third of the panel today. It's normally a bit of a therapy session for myself this season, but I think I'm going to be the therapist today for Jake and Jonathan. A couple of familiar faces. You will have seen them on previous shows, but I'll give you an opportunity to plug whatever you need to plug. We'll start with Punk Chef on my left.
Hi, I'm Punk Chef 41. I'm a Sheffield Wednesday fan for my sins, and I have 2 stress balls on me today because that's how I feel about this weekend.
It's been that positive. And then down at the bottom, we've got Jonathan Harries. He was on the show last week. He's been on a couple of times. Jonathan, tell us about yourself and where people can find you.
Yep, I'm Jonathan Harries. You can follow me at HarriesDon87 on Twitter. I'm a mad MK Dons fan for my sins, and I'm currently wondering what we've got to do to beat a bottom 4 side.
I'm not bothered now. You can beat all the bottom 4 teams to the end of the season. Links to all of these guys' socials are in the description down below. Please get your comments in, and we'll go through those as we go through the scores from this week. So we've got a couple of games on Tuesday, and then Saturday's fixtures as well. We've got a couple of people in the chat already.
Evening, Captain Nat.
Evening, lads. And then we've got One Rovers vlogs. Evening,
yep, Charlie.
Evening,
all right, Charlie.
So let's get the scores up. Starting on Tuesday with Morecambe against Wigan, and Stockton is a ridiculous player. Not sure if he's going to be here post January. There's a couple of teams coming in for him, but Wigan.
Will Keane again.
Yeah, I think over the last 7 games, they've won every game by a goal. So they're plugging away and they've got plenty of games in hand. We will focus a little bit more on each team from the Saturday game. But yeah, a good result for Wigan, staying in touching distance of those top 2.
I thought more quite unlucky in that game.
Yeah. You gents want to add anything else to this one?
Apparently there was a foul in the build up to the Wigan winner as well, and I can see where they're coming from. But as you say, that for some Wigan is somehow just scraping enough to get wins at the minute, and with games in hand.
Yeah, doing bits and difficult to beat. We've got Lewis. Good evening. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Lewis.
Moving on to AFC Wimbledon against Portsmouth, and there was chances for both teams. Pompey should have really won it though. They've hit the bar, but they just couldn't break down a difficult defence. And Jonathan, you played Wimbledon a couple of weeks back. Was it last week?
A week last Tuesday,
yeah. Week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on them? Because they're struggling down towards the bottom end of the table, struggling to score. Tell us a little bit about Wimbledon.
Just a severe lack of goals, really. I think before yesterday they hadn't scored in 5 league games in a row, but they've always had Joe Pigott to bail them out, and they're going to need someone like Ollie Palmer or someone just to step up, because this could be the year that they go down. Fingers crossed.
Not that there's any rivalry there or anything.
Yeah, no rivalry at all there.
Moving on to the Rovers game on Tuesday night, and this one was a bit of a difficult one to take because we should have been out of sight in the first half. We hit the woodwork 3 times, and then a mistake in the middle of the park where Harvey nibs in. It was a counter-attack squared to him, an easy finish, and I think that knocked the wind out of Rovers' sails, to be fair. Good header by Harrison and Dunk for the second goal, and pretty much thinking that's game over. But then 10 minutes later, Dodo gets us back into the game, and you think, well, the performances are getting better. Can we get a result out of this? It's another away game. We're not very good away. And then I think we were pushing to try and get that equaliser, caught on the break, and Sam Smith put the game to bed. And Cambridge doing very well on a decent little run and pulling themselves away from the bottom 4. So yeah, for me that was a disappointing one, and it kind of led me into the MK Dons game this weekend, fearing for the worst, because our away form was 1 draw in 20 games, I think it was. But thanks to MK Dons, that has changed.
You're welcome.
So Jake's not had much to say, so we will skip around the grounds on the Saturday ones. We'll start with Oxford against Sheffield Wednesday. Tell us what happened, Jake.
We absolutely bossed the first half. If you've seen Barry Bannon's goal, it's a fantastic goal, to be fair. He just hits it on the volley, and he don't go many from outside the box. He's normally our penalty taker, and had so many chances in that first half to wrap it up and be out of sight. Second half, to change it, they put 5 in midfield. We struggle when it's a 5-man midfield as well, even though then going 2-1-1 at the break helped them a little bit. We still felt like we could have something there, but they completely different dynamic in the second half at Oxford. They'd gone into the dressing room, obviously had a firework at the backsides, and changed it. Windac comes on. It's a great 1-2 with Gregory. You're thinking, right, we'll hold on to this. Nah, 2 minutes later, they go. And it's just poor defending by Wednesday again. And it's all I've just seen that, Ian. Just seen that, Ian. No, they cause problems in my household. They cause big problems in my household. I'm fuming. And it would have to be sodding Sam Winnell. And we all know he likes a sodding header. But you look at how he defended that. No one on him. He knows how to hit a good header. And again, for Wednesday, it just lack of defending and switching on. We did put up a really good try and get back into it. Patterson nearly came close, but it's this defensive frailty we got. 84th minute again, I thought we got past this. We were all sorted. Everything going fine. We were looking better. We are so inconsistent, it's untrue. And it does my head in. And if you're going to let Sheffield Wednesday walk your dog, don't give them the lead. We throw them away. Because it's what we do every sodding game. It's doing my sodding head in. To say Darren Moore is a defensive player back in his day, where is the defending in this team? Because I don't know. And you know what's really weird? It's very rare you hear Carl Robinson turn around and say, yeah, they should have a penalty, but I don't mind because we won. He even called out and said they should have a stonewall penalty at the end. Yeah. All good for us then. If we had that, we'd probably be out and gone. Oh, it's just frustrating. Just a frustrating game. Good performance, but just need to switch on at the back.
Do you feel better
now? No, still annoyed. I want to go back to Saturday and try and change it.
But in fairness, looking at the stats, it's a very even game, and I think
if you're neutral, it's a good game to watch.
Yeah.
If you're neutral, this was a cracking game.
Yeah, I think at this level, it is very fine margins, especially towards the top end of the table.
11 goals from corners. 11 goals from corners. And just going to say that this season.
Just seeing this. Who's that guy masquerading as damn far too young? As you can tell, every time Rovers win a game, I am going to shave my beard.
I've got one for you. If you stay up, are you going to shave your head?
Not a chance. And honestly, I think the hair is safe. I still think it is safe.
Fair enough.
Anything else to add for Oxford against Sheffield Wednesday?
We got Ipswich next, so good luck to us. But to be fair,
they're fairly inconsistent too, though.
Yeah, but still us. I'd rather take an inconsistent Ipswich than an inconsistent Wednesday.
Yeah. We'll bounce around the grounds a little bit now before we come to the MK Dons versus Doncaster game, starting at Plymouth Argyle, a team where we were singing their praises at the start of the season. They were absolutely flying. They were the pace setters of the league. What has gone wrong?
Manager change.
Is it all down to that, do you think?
I just think they've had such a good start, and I honestly never thought that they'd keep it up and still be in and around the playoffs by now. But I just think with the volume of games they'll have to catch up on and the way they play, I just think it's a bit too much. But I think we've got to credit Lincoln. They've gone to Plymouth, they've won, they've beaten Oxford. I think they beat Sunderland as well. That's 3 big teams in the league that they've beaten recently. So absolutely fair play. They've got the
and they're doing the business in the transfer window.
Yeah, absolutely, which is what they needed.
Yeah, John Marquis, who was linked with a return back to Doncaster Rovers. I can't remember if I said it last week on the show or not. I don't think he'd fit in our style of play anymore. I don't think we're creating enough for a John Marquis style of striker. But I think he'll do very, very well at Lincoln. And as you say, they're adding the right players. And for me,
Lincoln, but remember, Lincoln are very good at doing this. They did this last season around January. They didn't start well, and then they just went on a run. So if they can do what they did last season, you never know.
Yeah,
Especially in
plenty of
this
points
league.
still to play for,
Yeah.
isn't there? But yeah, very, very good victory. A tough place to go. Moving on to Shrewsbury against Bolton. Feel for Shrewsbury in this one. They seem to dominate the big spells of the game. It was 5 unbeaten for Shrewsbury going into this one. 8 straight away defeats for Bolton. So the odds were on a Shrewsbury win, but very end-to-end game. And another one of those tight margin games in League One with a late winner.
Yep.
Dion Charles from Accrington as well. Any thoughts on him?
Decent
like
striker at this level.
Yeah, it seems like
Very decent striker.
He's quite hungry for it as well. So going to somewhere like Bolton is probably a really good place for him to go. As long as they feed him right and getting the right crosses in and stuff like that, he'll probably do really well. Like, it was the one where you think to yourself, like, oh, you're letting him go to a rival. But to be fair, it's probably a smart move by both clubs.
Yeah, because Bolton, well, we'll see the table later on. They could get pulled into it a little bit, but I think with the squad that they've got, they should be okay, I think.
Best team in the league, remember?
Rotherham fixture, so we've got Ian in the chat. And I'm going to put it out there. I think the goal was a foul.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ian.
But before you go off on me, Ian, I do think you should have had a penalty. And I don't think Smith was offside.
Yeah. So it even things out. And also, you got all 3 points.
Yeah. It's that's the stat that matters at the end of the day. The one at the very top. We've got Ian in the chat. Watch Thogden's video for this. Great acting. Still pretending to be a Bolton fan. It was an answer to the call at his point.
That's actually really funny.
Ian's not a fan of Thogden by the looks of it.
No.
But yeah, for me, there was a bit of a tug for the first goal. But like we've just said, I think it does even itself out. They should have had a penalty. And they didn't get it. Maybe something playing in the referee's mind. But for me, Cheltenham,
they put up for it, to be fair, considering it's against Rotherham. But if you take one of your 2 chances and score on target, you always can have the opportunity, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Plus, Rotherham's attack could get even stronger because I think Rotherham are linked with Cole Stockton, aren't they? They're one of the clubs.
Yeah, they're one of the clubs. So imagine Smith and Stockton. Oh, filthy.
Ladapo, who?
Yeah.
I'd take Ladapo.
Yeah,
we'd take him as well, I think. But he's got a bit of a reputation of being a one-man band, though, hasn't he?
Mm.
So I don't know if that'd suit coming into any squad that's wanting to pull together. But yeah, moving on to one of the games of the day. An accumulator killer, isn't it?
Insane game.
You've got Wycombe, who are just ticking over nicely. They're a very difficult team to beat, and Morecambe, never say die. Stockton in the team, he's scored, and we say it time and time again. If Stockton scores, Morecambe are probably going to be.
Oh, he just said the Stockton link is rubbish. Warren says.
No, there we go.
So, whoever gets Stockton is going to be good, though.
Is he just playing it down so that the price doesn't rise? You never know, do you?
No. The thing with Morecambe, whenever the Stockton scores, they normally do pretty damn well. And in that game against Wycombe, it was an end-to-end game from both teams. Excellent football throughout. But the one thing Morecambe will give you that people don't give me enough credit for is they don't die. They still got that never say die attitude, which is helping them in this league. And the fact that they came up from League 2 last season and now they're managing to, at one point, giving them a good chance of going up, it just tailed off a little bit. I reckon if they can improve next season players, they could be quite easily going for it next season, depending on what they do. But they've got to find a replacement for Cole Stockton if he does go, because a player like Stockton going for good money, that secured that club financially for a good couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, how many goals is he on now this season? It's something like
20,
20 goals?
I think it's 20, I think.
It's difficult to replace, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially for a side that you'd say survival is the key aim this season. I mean, 20 goals on a side that battling relegation is just phenomenal.
Yeah. Where would they be without those goals? That's the question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Moving on to a good result for Doncaster Rovers. Cambridge started to pull away from the bottom four. I think they'll be okay. It's all about kind of 2 places above the bottom four for me. That's what I'm keeping my eye on at the minute. And Crewe getting beat 1-0 is a welcome result for a Doncaster Rovers fan. But Crewe themselves picking up a little bit in form. They've got 10 points from the last 6. Do you think they've got enough to avoid the drop, or do you think they're potentially down with us?
I think, unfortunately, they'll be down unless they can get this last week of the window. They can get a striker, another striker, or even I've even heard rumours that Charlie Kirk might go back on loan, which seems insane considering he should be starting for Charlton week in, week out for me. But if they can get someone like a Charlie Kirk back in, it would be it could be the difference. But I honestly think that they're unfortunately going down.
It's
what
drifting,
about the goal
innit?
from Adam May as well? I don't know if you've seen it. It's similar to Theo's for MK Dons the other week.
Was nice. It was a lovely hit.
Except it took a massive deflection.
Don't take it away from him.
I'm just putting it out there.
A couple of comments coming in from Ian. Sadly, a fit but out of the squad yesterday. This is interesting. Still think a return to the RC is a possibility. I'd take him. On the wings is something where we struggle with. Cambridge, the best of last season's promoted clubs, in my opinion, back at the New York Stadium in the Pizza Cup midweek. So
Ian's favourite competition.
Yeah,
I'd disagree with Cambridge being the best team to come up last season. I think I'd go with
Morecambe for me.
I'd go with Cheltenham.
Yeah,
I've liked what Cheltenham have done. That's where my vote would go. But yeah, Cambridge doing very well this season anyway.
You know who really likes the Pizza Cup, don't you? Anyone who's doing commentary because they get free pizza.
Oh, nice. So, moving on to the most important game of the weekend. I'm not going to gloat too much because the channel's built on respect. So, Jonathan, you went to the game. Tell us about it, because I don't feel like I'm in a position to wax lyrical on it when I wasn't there.
Well, the stats will tell you that we absolutely dominated. I'm not quite sure where the 25 shots came from because we didn't really test Jones in goal. We started well. Doncaster were a little bit panicky at the back. There was a few chances where balls were coming across the box and it was last-ditch defending. And then they go and do what every side does when they come to Stadium MK and they're down the bottom 4. And, of course, it was the ex-MK Dons loanee, Josh Martin, with the assist for Joe Dodu, who cut inside. And I thought it was quite interesting from Liam Manning post-match. He said that he warned them about their wingers cutting inside because they were like inverted wingers. I think Dodu was cutting in from one side and then you had Josh Martin from the other. So to let them do that is very poor. But we had a great chance in the dying minutes of the first half where good ball into Mo Isa with a header straight at Jones. And then we just completely dominated possession in the second half, and absolutely credit to Doncaster. Ollie Younger, is it Ollie Younger? Is that?
Yeah.
He was absolutely sensational, apart from one moment of what I'd say panic. Corbanu, who was probably definitely our brightest spark of the game, got to the byline, put the ball across, deflected off a defender, bounced over Younger. I don't know if Jones shouted, but it rolled underneath Jones's legs, and literally, if Isa had reacted, it would have been 1-1. But Kyle Noyle just blocked it off the line. Scott Twine had a couple of free kicks towards the end of the game that Jones saved. But I'd say we've got to give credit to Doncaster. Dug in. I thought, as I say, Younger was brilliant. Dodu was always dangerous on the counter attack. I think is it Michael Smith in midfield? He was Matt
Smith, yeah.
I was absolutely brilliant. When I think Galbraith went off with an injury quite early on. So as I say, that is a massive result for Doncaster. It's just, as Dan said, he was not expecting that at the start of the game, and
With
again,
the last two performances, Donny, do you think there's enough in there to stay up now from what you're seeing?
For me, one result doesn't turn the tide of what we've seen for the last 12 months. I think the performances are promising. For me, at the minute, what it shows is that Gareth McSheffrey is trying to install a bit of pride back into the team, and that's all I can ask for, to be fair.
Yeah.
Bit of pride, bit of fight, bit of passion. If the results don't go our way, I'm a Rovers fan. I don't expect to win every game. If anything, I've been expecting to lose every game, especially away from home this season. But for me, if I can see that the players have put that effort in and that fight, which watching the highlights, it looks like we did it with bodies on the line.
There does seem like there's been a shift in mentality. We've just seen how they're moving the ball.
More. If the results don't go and we get beat by the better team, you look at against Wigan, I thought we performed fairly well. The performance was there. There was a bit of pride for playing for the shirt, but we got beat 2-1. The goals were preventable, but I didn't go away from that game absolutely fuming.
Yeah.
What really gets my back up is seeing players just going through the motions when we're in such a dire situation or a position. Just put everything on the line. If the result doesn't go our way, it is what it is. So yeah, to put that performance in against a very good MK Dons team and stand firm as a defence, then very happy with that. We've got Harry Walker in the chat as well. Oh, we win 2 games in a row. Me too. We've got Argyle on Saturday.
Could beat them.
Yeah.
That's big call, Ian.
Yeah, it is very. But Ian also said destroy more accumulators. Yeah, I left us off of that accumulator.
Bad move.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
very bad move.
Moving on to another big game at both ends of the table. Wigan 3, Gillingham 2. And Wigan should have been out of sight in the first half, but Gillingham fought back. Any thoughts on this one, Jake?
Gillingham are interesting in a minute because they're looking. They got the whole situation. They need changes, and they showed enough in this game versus Wigan that they can get back into it, and they're showing heart. But Wigan should have just taken their chances, and it's very unlike Wigan not to, because Wigan normally bury a lot of theirs, and are we seeing the tide changing a little bit, because February is a big month for everybody in the league. Because it's like we've got like 9 games in the next 29 games, which is insane. And it could be interesting to see which teams cope with it and how they manage to go with it. But Wigan, when they get going, they can be scary when they get going this season. They really are a good team. And what annoyed me when we had Will Keane on loan a couple of seasons ago, he was rubbish. And it just seemed like he finally settled down at a club, looked good. But he's also one of those players who had really bad injuries really early on in his career. Why I think MK getting someone like a Wycombe could be actually a really good move for Wycombe and MK, because he's a quality player at League One. He's too good for League One, but his injury make it so he is a League One player.
Yeah, but like you say, if they keep him fit, I think he could do the business for MK and keep them in the playoffs. A bit like
it's something different to what we have.
Yeah.
He's definitely that. He's more of a physical presence, which I think could benefit us if we can get him fit and firing with Mo Isa. I think Mo could benefit from Wycombe as well.
Just got to watch his knees. It's just knee injury you keep getting, and that's the problem.
Yeah. So he just needs new knees. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
It's not good for a footballer. Harry Walker in the chat. If we play like that for most of our remaining games, we will stay up with all the big players potentially coming back as well. Yeah. So we've got some injuries coming back in the Rovers squad. I think we need to win 10 of our remaining games to stay up. Yeah. That puts us on 49 points. I think that should see us safe, and that's a big ask. So I'm not so sure myself. Moving on to Charlton against Fleetwood. Another good result for Donny this week. The results seem to go our way.
Yep.
And Charlton, they've 3 defeats and 1 draw since Jackson took the job permanently from caretaker, and he's finally got that monkey off his back as the permanent manager. Any thoughts on this game, Jonathan?
Yeah, it's been a bit up and down for Johnny Jackson since he's been confirmed as a permanent manager. But that Charlton squad it should be doing better than it is. You've got Alex Gilby, who reached 300 club appearances on Saturday. Chuck Sanike can be an absolute pain up top as well. Connor Washington, they've got so much quality, and even the fact again, Charlie Kirk I think was on the bench, which again I think is ridiculous for League One. But as for Fleetwood, you know that with Fleetwood, they've always got a surprise result in them. So I don't think it's doom and gloom for Fleetwood. I think they've got possibly enough just to survive, but I think it's going to be close.
Yeah, they're a tough team to beat. Like you say, with likes of Danny Andrew and players like that. I mean, Danny Andrew is ridiculous on set pieces, so they've always got that chance of a good delivery or a free kick that's finding the back of the net. So yeah, I don't think they're definitely not dead and buried or anywhere near that coming into the end of the season. So moving on to Burton 1, AFC Wimbledon 1, and
I feel for Wimbledon on this one.
Very end-to-end game, but probably fair to get a
draw.
Fair to
get a draw, but Wimbledon are just showing that they can get results, but defenses they're a little bit lacked. But Burton they know how to get results in this league, and you see 21 shots and 6 on target. You got to be getting at least 2 or 3 of them in the back of the net, surely, to even give yourself a chance. And you look at possession, 61 to 39. It's just like you'd have more the ball. If you're not going to take those chances, you're going to get caught, and that's what happened. But thankfully for Burton, they managed to come up with the goods on the 7-7, and yet it was only a 7-minute lead. But at the same time, they still managed to pull something out and get something out of it. I think Wimbledon will take a really massive point out of this because they could have been
confidence from this.
Yeah, they could have been even gone before then. So it's interesting.
Yeah, got some praise for your stadium here, Jonathan. Just Harry went to the game yesterday in Stadium MK. It was a great stadium to visit. It's one that I've not ticked off yet, but I will do in the future. It does look absolutely phenomenal.
Soulless Bowl.
There you go. Bit of praise, bit of negative reaction. So the universe is in balance.
What we just turned into, praise or grumble?
I'm just saying what 80% of the opposition fans normally say coming out the stadium, or soulless, but it's not our fault that we built a 30,000 capacity stadium and we can only, I think we average about 6,000 or 7,000, so it's never going to be the best atmosphere in there.
So I walked Green Day at that stadium. They were awesome.
Yeah, for Soulless Bowls, it's padded seats, which is another positive. But on to the penultimate game this week. Sunderland 1, Portsmouth 0, and a big result for Sunderland. They were really scarce for Pompey, didn't heed the warning, and then gifted Sunderland what happened to be the winner. Any thoughts on this one before we move on to the final game?
I think it's just exactly what Sunderland need, just to win, just to
grinding out
give
results,
themselves
isn't it?
Any opportunity to get into the top 2.
Yeah.
But it's going to take a lot. I still think Rotherham and Wigan are going up automatically.
It would be criminal if Sunderland don't go up, but they can be very inconsistent at times, and that's the thing. You look at Wigan and Rotherham; they consistently pick up wins. Sunderland will drop a point against the team that they really shouldn't be.
Hopefully, Rovers in the next couple of weeks.
If you pick up a result at the Stadium of Light, I think you'll definitely permanently shave your beard off.
Definitely.
Never come back.
And then the final game of the weekend, Ipswich 2, Accrington Stanley 1, and Accrington 3 draws coming into this one. They're a very tough team to beat, but Ipswich found the recipe to do just that.
Yes.
It was a definite red card, wasn't it? That punch.
It was a punch.
It was a clear right-hand punch, and I think the EFL might look at that and go,
I think there'll be retrospective action, but that doesn't.
He didn't even get booked, did he?
He didn't get nothing. The thing is, I hope the retrospective action, we got them necked.
The problem is with retrospective action is
I know it's normally like 2 or 3 games afterwards. Ipswich is starting to change, and you can see the mentality change, the way they're playing differently. It was a bit of a gamble to bring him in, considering when you think about he got no manager at birth, but this is where manager get the fit. They go to League One, they go to League Two.
Yeah.
He knows the connections with Manchester United. He learned from a lot of good people around him. And you're just seeing there's a difference there at the minute with Ipswich. They're starting to look like a team who could possibly do a mini push. That being said, Accrington Stanley nearly managed it. If that gets a red, it's a completely different story, and I think Accrington Stanley nick it. Yeah,
because it was involved for the rest of the game, and he actually made an impact in the game. And
it's not like you can turn around and say you didn't look at him. He looked in clear in the face and punched him.
It's a punch Anthony Joshua would be impressed with.
Yeah. I saw some things on Twitter like people say, "Oh, he'd gone down too easily there." No, he'd been smacked in the face.
It's got a glass jaw. That's the problem. So, in a nutshell, we think Ipswich were probably fortunate not to go down to 10 men. Had they gone down to 10 men, we think Accrington may have got something from that game. But as it is, the referee didn't see it. Nothing got given, and Ipswich came out winners. But moving on to the table, it's a little bit more positive for the Rovers. And I look at that and I see missed opportunities against Morecambe and Fleetwood. Had we won those two games, one of which we were 3-0 up against Fleetwood, we just didn't perform with any sort of fight or desire. I think if we'd have performed like we did yesterday against Fleetwood, we've won that game as well. We'd have been on 25 points. Fleetwood would have been on 25 points. Morecambe would have been below us. Ridiculous. So, frustrating. There's a chance that we may stay up, but it's very slim. But onto the top of the table, this is where you boys come in with Sheffield Wednesday and MK Dons. Do you think Wednesday are going to get into the playoffs?
I said start of the season.
Stay in the playoffs.
Start of the season, I turned around and said we're mid-table. I don't think there's enough. We've got to pull out a good transfer window, possibly bring in a striker, possibly bring in another defender. If we can short that defence, yes. But if we can get the likes of Winder starting games now, we might have a chance. But we can go, we just don't defend well. And when you realise that our entire back four is literally Shea Dunkley and Orphan, they've been out for most of the season this year, you can see where we're struggling. If we get into playoffs, it's a very good chance of us doing so, but we've got to go on a hell of a run, and we haven't had enough runs this season to go for it.
Silent Viking, season it over, couple of wins and we're good. Yeah, it's good. I think it's going to go all the way. It's going to go all the way. Yeah. Got it. And just to finish off, Jonathan, do you think you've got enough to stay in the top 6?
Yes, I said yes last week when you asked me, so I'm going to stick to what I feel. I think there's like a mini league with us, Oxford, Plymouth, Sheffield Wednesday, Ipswich, Portsmouth, and it's going to be a case of who can beat who around there. And as I said, we still got to go to Oxford. We still got to go to Plymouth. We've still got Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah. We've still got Ipswich to come to us in a couple of weeks. So I'm
I'd say you're the better one out of that mini league that you just said. I'd say you're probably the more likely to pick up the most points in the run into the end of the season.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, guys. So it has been a short and sweet one. I've got the family coming around for dinner, so we're going to cut this one short. We normally go to about 45 minutes. So thank you for flying through this with us this Sunday. Hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget, please go ahead and follow Jake and Jonathan on their socials. Links in the description down below. Thank you, guys. I'm sorry, Jonathan, that we've done the double. Well, I'm not. But
Don't apologise for doing that.
Don't apologise.
This channel's built on respect. I try to be nice. But no, I hope all of you have enjoyed watching us review League One. How you guys have enjoyed being part of it again. Thank you very much. And all that's left for me to say is, if you've enjoyed it, big thumbs up on it for us, please. Comments in the section down below if you're watching it on repeat. I will try and get back to you on all of those. Subscribe to me if you haven't already. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
See ya.
See ya.